What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I am back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. Today, I got a special guest. She is part of the Mama's Cocktail Hour Network. Yo, this is Zaida Lisa.
Hey, what's
Yes.
up, guys?
Yeah, we had to run through that again. I had to make sure that I got her name right and I got the brand name right because I want to be professional. And you deserve that kind of treatment. So how's everything been with you?
I appreciate that. First and foremost, thank you for having me on your platform. We've been trying to get together for a while now, so I'm happy that we were kind of make it through here. So thank you first and foremost. And I am not doing the best. I was just explaining earlier how I am sick, but sometimes the show must go on. So I am happy to be here today.
Yes, I appreciate you powering through. I know, it has been a tricky road. Between the both of us, there's been a lot of things going on. First, how are you doing? I know you said you're not feeling well, but are you doing any better from the last time we spoke?
So it started off with my daughter actually getting sick last week when we were originally supposed to have this, and then that transcended into me getting sick. I do not know if I have COVID. I've actually got tested. I'm just waiting for those results to come back in. Today's the first day that I'm actually up and out of the bed. For the last couple of days, I've been, just laying in the bed, doing absolutely nothing. I have some of the symptoms, but not all. So I don't know. I'm hoping that it's just a 24-hour bug, but nonetheless, I'm blessed to be here. And I am not complaining because I know that there's some people that something, terribly else has happened or has progressed or gotten worse. So like I said, I'm blessed.
Yeah, it's a blessing that you haven't run into anything too major and that your kids are doing better too.
Yeah, my kids are doing better.
Okay,
actually,
great.
Both of them got sick, so they are both doing better. So that's promising.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of that, one of the questions I was going to ask, as far as with your network and with your brand, how has COVID affected that? Has there been any adjustments on your end, or has it caused any trouble for you guys?
Yeah, great question. I actually jumped into everything in the beginning of COVID. So it was like I had all this time to kind of reflect, and it was like, why am I holding myself back? And I had a problem with putting myself out there with insecurities, with the way I looked. And, females, we're so critical, not just females, actually, males too. We're all critical of ourselves. So
yes.
Actually, it's only been 1 year, my friend. It's only been 1 year. Wow. And I started during COVID. And so I jumped into this virtual live world that was non-existent pre-COVID. And I just jumped in headstrong, you know what, we're going to do a live every Saturday. And that really started to pick up some momentum. Me and my girls, we started to break it up into shows. So we have a couple of shows on the network. One is called That's Dope with Zaida Lisa. And that's me every Thursday on IG Live, where I talk about anything from rap, hip hop, the culture, anything that I feel like is dope and relevant for our culture, we talk about on that show. We have Tuesday Talks with Jazz, which is primarily focused on mental health. As you know, a lot of times in our community, mental health is something that has not been spoken about. So Jasmine, who herself suffers from mental health, talks about some of the trials and tribulations that she's been through being in a Latina family, dealing with something so serious like mental health that a lot of other people don't like to sweep under the rug. So it's a dope show. And we also have At Home with Elise, where she gives you guys all helpful hacks on how to revitalize your home. She's more of a lifestyle brand. So so far, and not to mention, we also just have a newly cooked show, and it's called
nice.
For the Culture. And that's run by my cousin, Nancy G. And she likes to bring home recipes that we probably forgotten. So it's a cool dynamic of different flavors that you get within Mama's Cocktail Hour Network.
It's dope. When Bash did before we put together the conference calls that we do before every interview, He told me about the podcast, but once I got to talk to you and realized that you guys had a whole network, I thought that was pretty dope. So what inspired you guys to put together your own network, like come together and, even before everything everything happened during lockdown, what kind of brought you guys together to put together the Mama's Cocktail Hour network?
So, it was a combination of things. I think when I started this podcast, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just jumping out there, trying to be me, being authentic, trying to relate to a community and also trying to let women know, like, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to struggle with weight. It's okay to struggle with insecurities, and it's okay to put yourself out there just the way you are. So in the beginning, we got caught up in a lot of the Instagram model stuff. Imposter syndrome was real. But I think the driving force was when we got the feedback from a lot of people like, wow, I wish I had your courage to talk about the things that you're talking about. Wow, I love the fact that you hit on things that nobody talks about. That's kind of really what inspired me and my team and my girls to kind of move forward with it, as much as we kind of felt vulnerable. Right. It was like unmasking. It was like talking about things and being uncomfortable. But a lot of the feedback that we got from women our age and women in our same culture or in our same dynamic was just amazing. So we took that and kind of went with it running and started our network. And we kind of realized that just doing a podcast itself is just, first, it's amazing. A lot of work goes into it. So everybody got to respect the hustle. Mm-hmm. Respect the hustle, y'all. Like and subscribe, because there's a lot of work that goes into putting a podcast together. Yes. And I didn't know at first, but my husband kind of dives into like the music business. Like, he's been producing his own music and editing his own music for a very long time. So I kind of had the gems from him, and he's given me those. But what I also wanted to showcase was our individual personalities, because I feel like on a podcast, you don't really see that. You guys talk about topics, you guys kind of, we talk about topics, but we don't really dive into the personal. So what I wanted to do was break that up into segments where everyone can see everybody individually. So that's what kind of came up with the idea for, like, listen, everybody has to have their own lane. And I think it was dope if everybody had their own show. So that's what we did on Instagram. We kind of brought some of that to YouTube as well, but we're trying to grow our YouTube. That's hopefully in the future. But right now we're focusing on Instagram and then transitioning over.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I went ahead and subscribed to your channel because it's that's when I went and looked. You guys put a lot of work and a lot of effort into your content. Which,
yes, we did.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that the links to the Instagram page and also the YouTube page are in the bio once this goes up on YouTube. Just so anybody watching this, when you come across this, make sure y'all check out the Mama's Cocktail Hour Network and subscribe, because they put in a lot of work. I can tell from the few episodes that I've seen, like, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort put into it.
I appreciate that. It is for anybody doing that. Anybody that's putting themselves out there on YouTube, editing, making sure everything looks professional. It's a lot of work. So definitely like and subscribe, especially Link TV.
Yes. Yeah, because it's and it's funny you say that, because a lot of people would think like you just kind of get this big epiphany, but a lot of times it's just really like I'm just trying it out. That's how this show got started. It's just one day I just was having a conversation with someone. They say, "Yo, I think you would be good for a podcast," and I was just, why not? If we've been going about 5 years strong since.
Wow, 5 years strong. That's amazing. That's a milestone.
Well, you guys I've already accomplished a lot. So from what I've seen with, with the year that you guys have had. So it's definitely inspiring for me as well, to see and the effort that you guys put into it. So with those different segments, I know that, you were talking about you wanted to showcase everyone's individual personality, but those topics in particular, like mental health, like the culture, even stuff like home improvement or cooking, like, homemade recipes and things like that, where I can see, that was well, like, was it brought on? But basically, what I want to say is, was it brought on by COVID? Because I feel like there was a lot of different things that a lot of people were in desperate need of that
Oh
people
yeah, no,
definitely can relate to.
definitely. Definitely. It was a way to say, like, how do we express ourselves, right? Like, I ask my team all the time, and they may think I'm super annoying, but I'm the person that's just kind of like trying to give my audience what it is that they need. So I start to think about, what is it that I want to know, right? I'm a 35-year-old woman. I am a professional. I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm a mom. I wear so many hats. I'm a basketball coach. So it was like, what is it that women my age want to see, right? We want, especially if you're 35 years old, you've been through some shit in your life. And so you're at a different point in your life where you're at a level of woke. So you are now starting to question relationships that probably you had before that are no longer feeding you, right? And that you're like, I don't want to deal with that no more. I don't want that negativity. I don't want the person who's always going to walk around in a freaking family function and talk about I'm fat or I need to lose weight. So you start to question those things. And when you're questioning those things, a lot of people who are not at that level are like, oh, she thinks she all that, or she thinks she cool. But no, you've gotten to a level where you're like, I am no longer going to have people in my circle who are negative, right? So I wanted to showcase that, because honestly, when I started this platform, I got a lot of like side eyes from like my immediate family, people around me, my friends, because it was like, well, why are you going to put your business out in the street? Why are you going to talk about stuff like that? So a lot of times people are not receptive to the things that I wanted to do, but it only fueled me. It only fueled me because I was like, you know what? You may not be comfortable with talking about it, but there's going to be a lot of other people who are like, yo, damn, I wish or you said what I was thinking and I didn't want to say out loud. So I think that's me. I am the person who I say what you're thinking that you probably don't want to say out loud. And COVID did that because we were such in a place of like, we were all on our phones. There wasn't nothing to do. And it got to the point that you were searching for someone that was like yourself. You were searching for someone that you can relate to, that you can network with, that you can build some type of relationship with online, because there was such a like disconnect from all of that. You know, we went from being in the clubs to no longer being in the clubs or going out for drinks and going out and to no longer doing that. So social interaction was scarce. And so it was like me trying to help fill that void in a small way.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because, like, with this show, that's one of the things that people reach out to me about, or with my music. Like, it's like, wow, you said something that either, because sometimes people want to talk about this stuff,
right?
And they want to have those conversations, but because of whether it's how they were raised, or they're too embarrassed, or it's something there that's just preventing them from being able to express that. So somebody being able to watch you or listen to me and be, wow, I really needed that, or wow,
Yep.
I've been keeping this in my mind. I thought I was crazy, but now I realize that a lot of other people go through this and I don't feel alone anymore.
Exactly.
It's one of the most rewarding parts of, what we do.
Yep. 100%. You said it right to the T. Like, I agree. Like, people are seeing you and like, damn, I wish I could. I wish I had that strength. So, I mean, I'm sure if a lot of people let go of insecurities, they would have that strength.
Right.
That's like my biggest thing. It's like, it's not just women, it's men too. Men have insecurities too. So if we let go a lot of the things that make us feel vulnerable, if we let go of those, we would be walking in our purpose.
Oh, most definitely. Now, I know you said you had some people kind of, give you a side eye when you first started the network, when you started on your journey with the content. What was like, I guess we should say, what would be the most negative reaction you got? As you were, like, any negative reactions, any negative feedback that would have come across your way because of an episode or a topic or something like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say, I had a podcast where I spoke about how, like, don't block your blessings and not allowing family members or people close to you to kind of dictate what it is that you want to do. And I got a lot of heat from people in my family from watching that, because if it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? Mm-hmm. But so I think that it kind of hit home for a lot of the people that I love, and not to throw shade at them, because, you know, some of these people I still currently have, you know, great relationships with, but it was them seeing a different Zaida.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're seeing, when you're also not accessible like you were, or now you're pretty much focused on one thing, naturally people around you are like, they don't feel inclusive. They don't feel like you're including them. They feel like maybe you've changed, and that can kind of get them to act differently. And then you're kind of just trying to zone in on what it is that you want to do. So there's a lot of tension there when you're kind of, like I said, walking in your purpose, because also remember, people wish that they had your integrity, your strength when you're doing something like that. And a lot of times that can be taken as hate, as shade. But what I did was, regardless of the negativity, I mean, one time I got a comment because I had put up a vlog on YouTube of my family in Morocco. We had taken a trip to Morocco, and I had got like this hateful comment about how it was just hateful. It was racist about my family, because you know, we're melanated people. So I got a lot of hateful comments about my son. My son is probably the darkest, and I don't believe in that whole shade thing, but I got a lot of hateful comments. And that was like the first time I would admit that it really hit home for me, because it's like, yo, you can say whatever you want to say about me, but like when you say something about my kids, that's like next level. So I had spoke to my husband about it, and I finally decided, like, I'm gonna let go and let God, you know? And at the end of the day, like, you can say whatever you want to say about me, my platform, or my family, but I know what we're made of. I know what we're trying to do. I know what we're trying to portray across in our content. And it's nothing but positivity and love. And despite what anybody else has to say about it, I just got to rock with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're taking that approach. I really hate that somebody came for, you know, your son like that. Like, that's one of the things, and you know, I learned this early on too, where there's a lot of hate, just hate for the sake of hate, for a lot of different reasons. But like, you know, it's always something else when somebody goes after family, especially young kids and things like that. Like this that's when you've crossed the line. Like, I might want to come see you. I might want to come see you.
No, and that was my initial thought. I was like, but you know, it's always the people don't got no pages, got no followers. So
got no pages, no followers, got a cartoon or something as a profile picture. So they're not even man enough or woman enough to put their face out there.
Exactly. So it's like, why even spend your energy or your time on someone like that? It's not even worth it.
Oh, definitely. Because at the end of the day, and then they went out their way to find you. So that's when you know you doing something right. Because a lot of times they don't go to somebody that's not doing something. They always have these kind of opinions for people that are actually out here making moves and speaking positivity. They want to try to tear that down.
No, absolutely. And I that's a great perspective, is that, you know, they actually had to watch my video. So thank you for the view. I appreciate it.
Yeah, probably plenty of views. People like that, they still watching. They mad, they gritting like behind their teeth, but they still watching.
That's right. That is so right.
So I know you've had some guests on your show. So has it always been virtual like this because COVID, or have you had some people in-person interviews?
We had a couple of in-person interviews, because remember, we kind of started in the beginning of COVID, so everything was already on lockdown. So it really was whether or not people were willing to kind of risk going on an in-person interview. We did things like making sure people had negative COVID tests before kind of coming in, because I think I had one person, one or two people come, like one person was a mobile bartender. She was making money during COVID, a woman entrepreneur. She basically comes to your house and creates any type of cocktail, and she She makes it and delivers it. So I thought she was so bomb as a female. She was killing it in the COVID game because nobody wanted to go outside. Mm-hmm. And she was one of my first interviews face-to-face in-house. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my other interviews have really been virtual, but I can't wait to get back to a world of like sitting face-to-face because I'm such a people person. So it's so easier for me to connect with people in person. But, you know, however it moves, you never know. With COVID, we take 5 steps forward and then 2 steps back. Here I am, a little sick, not even knowing if I myself have it. So, you know, I'm just rolling with the punches. But yes, I love face-to-face interviews.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if that was something that you preferred, or like prefer the face-to-face, or prefer this format. Because personally, I think I prefer this. Because most of my stuff was in person, but
really
only because when I'm virtual, it's because you know you have to coordinate times and like you know if people can make it or not. Like there's plenty of times people got called into work and they're not gonna be able to make it till like right before, or they're not gonna get out until right before we were supposed to be recording, so they're not gonna be able to make it. Now I could just send them a link, they could pull it up on their phone, on their laptop, and we just go from there.
It's easier.
My next question, I was gonna ask you, so who would you say would be like a like if you could get someone on the show, like a dream interview or a dream guest on any of the shows on the network, like who would you pick? Budget,
oh my gosh, not an issue. There's so many. There's so many. But so for me, definitely, I'm from New York, y'all. Born and raised in New York. So for me, I would say it would be Angie Martinez. She is the voice of New York. She inspired me to even wanting to do something like this when I was a little girl. I actually went to school for communications in college, mastered in it. And I got out of college and I had a child. So I didn't get a chance to really do what I wanted to do. And then I had to find a job, of course, because I was a new mom. And she has been the person who inspired me. So it would definitely be Angie Martinez, first and foremost, that I would love to interview. I think that she's amazing. And I think she's done so much for hip hop culture. So I would love for her to be one of my face-to-face interviews.
That would be dope. I could, because I've always been a big fan of Angie Martinez and her interviews. And like, I think a sit-down conversation with you two would be dope.
From your mouth to God ears. How about you? You got to tell me yours. Who would be your interview?
Dream interview. Yeah, like you said, there's so many.
So many.
You know what? As somebody, I would love to sit down with Andre 3000.
Really?
Because he's a fascinating guy to me. Like I've always been, he's like one of him and Big Boy and Outkast. Like those are two of my biggest inspirations, like with music. And, you know, just in general, like from, you know, when I ask him about how does he come up with some of the rhymes he comes up with, you know, production, you know, like what made him want to step away. You know, after The Love Below, just, you know, I got so many questions. He's like one of those guys. It's like I've always wanted to, like, it don't even have to be on camera. We could just talk. I just want to have that conversation.
That's dope. I think, and honestly, you said him, and I was like, yeah, he has a story to tell. So that would definitely be a dope interview. And I hope one day in your platform you get that.
Oh, like you said, for your mouth to God's ears, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
So I was gonna ask you, because I know you guys talk about, you know, one of the main things that I caught on a few episodes that I watched was mental health, and I know that that's something that you said. One of the co-hosts, she's dealt with that before, and that's kind of like her main talking point. So, like has that ever been like an emotionally charged situation as far as like discussing that on the show?
So honestly, Jasmine was the first person to really get real in Mamas. And she's the one that actually broke broke the glass, because when she started to really do her vlogs and be authentic about some of the things that she went through, like for instance, she suffers from anxiety and depression and OCD. It really started to help us evaluate ourselves and some of the things that we probably were going through that we were kind of sweeping under the rug. And for me, one of the things that I have newly came in contact with is possibly the fact of me having ADHD. And what grown-ass adult gets diagnosed with ADHD? But there are so many women who do, and so many women who go undiagnosed because you're not really paying attention to the things that are happening, and maybe you're just rationalizing it in your head. But for me, I'm such a creator, and that's why like being in this realm works for me. Like I excel at my 9 to 5. I'm actually a manager there. I excel at that job, but I excel at being a creator way more because my mind is free thinking. I don't like to put time limits on things. I can work on something for 6 hours because I'm a perfectionist. And I started to see things like this. Like I was very like hyperactive, as you can see, like I'm like all over the place. And so when my friend really started to be like, my friend, her daughter had got diagnosed with ADHD, and she was basically learning things about that. And when she was learning things, she was like, wow, Zaida, like this really resonates with like your characteristics, like no disrespect, you know? And I was like, wow. And when I really started to like pay attention to some of the things that I did, I was like, wow. And I ended up like seeking therapy for it. And it's amazing. And I was so against it because culturally, if you seeking a therapist, like you're crazy, something's wrong with you. But yo, when I tell you therapy is amazing, it is. It just opens up your mind. It's an unbiased opinion. It's no judgment. So, you know, her really breaking the glass for herself and coming out with all these things that she was struggling with, it helped everybody else be like, yo, there were so many other people in our circle that was like, wow, I'm suffering from anxiety. I'm suffering from depression. Wow, like me, I may have, you know, I'm not fully diagnosed yet, but my therapist is like, yeah, you do have a lot of those characteristics. You're very hyperactive. You know, we're going to have to do things to kind of sway your energy. But, you know, I think it's dope that you know, because once I knew, I was able to follow people on Instagram and connect with people who have the same type of thing. And it was just awakening. Like, it was just like, oh shit, that's not normal. Well, not that it's not normal, but it's like, okay, so this is a thing. So I, you know, for me to focus on something, it has to be quiet. Like I cannot focus outside of like doing a million things because my mind is always pushing me in a million places as is. So when I need to focus, it needs to be absolutely quiet. And I'm also a perfectionist. Like I will not put something out unless it's like, and everyone around me like, it's great, just put it out. And I'm like, no. So I have so much content, I tell you, that hasn't even been put out because I'm like, it's not good enough. And when I finally, you know, kind of dove into therapy, she was explaining to me why I was a perfectionist. She was explaining to me the way my mind works. And I have to thank Jasmine for that, because she was the one that kind of opened the door, because at first I was like, not doing that. We've actually had some full-on arguments on live about therapy. So now she can post those and laugh.
Oh man. Yo, that's real though. That's dope. You know, shout out to Jasmine too, because that's really dope that kind of opened up, and you know, you were learning stuff about yourself, you know, coming from those conversations. I know I'm a big advocate for therapy myself. Like I didn't go to therapy until after my brother passed a few years ago. And I needed, you know, just thank you. Like I needed, you know, just kind of talk about it. I was so blocked off. But, you know, after going to therapy for a few years, I've realized like, wow, I could have used this a long time ago. But there was a stigma attached to it that I couldn't, you know, like I didn't think I needed it. That's just for people who got real, you know, not thinking I don't have issues or something like that. But deep down, it was just certain things that as adults, especially as melanated people in this country. Like we need to, seek that help for our mental, because we're, trying to navigate these waters in this system every day, and it can take a toll on us.
Yes, I agree. And I love the word that you use. I love that you use stigma, because you are absolutely right. There's such a stigma attached to it. Like, even as I told my family now, and this is like new in, so you get like new exclusive. Like, I've only been in there a couple of weeks. And some of the reactions I've gotten from it from my family have been like shocked. And why? Right? Because you're right, there's a stigma attached to it. So my mom automatically assumes, and she doesn't know anybody, to be like, oh, so you're gonna be on medication? I'm like, no, I'm just talking out my feelings. Not everybody is on medication who's going, undergoing therapy.
So yeah, like I'm happy that I'm able to talk to people. More and more people are like coming around to it and realizing, hey, therapy isn't just doesn't mean that I'm crazy, or doesn't mean that I'm going to do a bunch of pills. It's like I can actually go here and like, hey, maybe there's some stuff going on with me that once I can talk through it, it'll make my life like 100 times better. Now that I know what's going on and I'm able to like work through it.
Yep. Absolutely. It's a gem. It's a hidden gem. Everybody else in their culture has been on it, and we've been the ones thinking that makes us weak. Going to therapy actually makes you strong.
Facts. So yeah, like you said, anybody come across this video, make sure you take your behind the therapy. Even if you think you don't need it, you probably need it.
Yep. Preach.
So for one, I want to thank you again. I know that things have been things have been hectic, and I know you aren't feeling well, so I really appreciate you taking the time out to have this discussion with me. This was great, and I can't wait for this one to come out, this episode.
Listen, this episode has been so amazing, and you have been nothing but professional and dope, and you're gonna have to come on Mama's Cocktail Hour for sure, because I already know that the ladies are gonna love you. Your energy is dope. I am so blessed to be here, so thank you for having me on my show. And like I said, I can't wait till we work together in future.
Oh, definitely. Just let me know. I'm there.
Okay.
Let me know. Right, like, we'll set the date.
And vice versa. I'm always happy to come back on your platform. Like I said, I love to have this conversation with you. It was dope for you to have me on here.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate you being on. One last question I want to ask before we wrap up. So for any new viewers or new listeners to the Mama's Cocktail Hour Network, what would be like, what would the lasting impression you want to leave on like new viewers after they come across your content for the first time?
I definitely want anybody who comes across my content to know that this is real. We try to touch on topics that nobody wants to talk about. We have some amazing things coming up in the new year where we're going to be discussing very hard topics like sexual abuse. Those are all things that we haven't touched on as of yet. I mean, we've spoke about sex, we spoke about relationships, but we've never talked about the ugly. And we think that we owe our fans that. We want to talk about the funny things, the happy things, the interesting things, the trendy things, but we also want to talk about the real. So we have so many amazing things coming up. So if you come across our content, please know that it's coming from a place of authenticity, of realness, of love, and positivity.
Yo, dope. Make sure, like I said, the links to the Instagram page and the YouTube channel will be in the bio. Make sure that y'all stay up on Mama's Cocktail Hour Network in 2022 and beyond. But until next time, it's been your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, Dangerous Minds. Much love.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Trust me, I'ma be ready when they come for me. Dying soon, black man, so he might be dying soon. Won't supposed to make it past 22. Now he 28, that's 6 years overdue. Just let you know I'ma be on guard. Whether no hood or a superstar, it really don't matter what we are. It just matters in the cars. The devil's working hard, so pray for me.